Hey everyone, hope you all had a great weekend. Thanks for joining me today on October 17th. And as always, we are not financial advisors and everything you see on here is for educational purposes only. Alright, let's get started with BTC. Actually, the dollar, I kind of stopped tracking the dollar too much because I needed to come down here. It's tilting back down a little bit. It's not on any reversal fibs, but at the same time, it didn't hit it over here. We did, do our two arrows down, which we still have this. I still see it going to 106. I feel like there's a gap here that definitely needs to be filled just because it closed here and it opened down here. So there's a nice little gap. So I can see us dropping back down to that. But again, I'm still testing it because I feel like I might have to tweak my fibs to fit that into place. Now, coming to BTC, now this is where it gets pretty interesting. I want to touch up on since our last update, Monday update. So we had this trend line here where we were on a fib line here and on the trend line. And I mentioned like, hey, this is going to be a good place where we can, push back up. But if we were to break those fibs, we have, we'll start dropping back down. We dropped below, but then came right back up. So it was kind of just like a sideways kind of a movement. Which, the pattern did show a little bit of sideways. Then we had this big drop. Now, this was a day where we had, some Fed news and all kinds of craziness happen. This was a big old red candle. And it wasn't just like a little, like, oh, it's pushing down, now it's wicking back up. No, like, this was a big old red candle. And we came down to a really strong reversal fib. And I mentioned on our video, this is, this could be the bottom. Because this always happens. We've had these big old drops before, like here and here. And it comes all the way back up. And I told everybody, look, this could be our bottom. Once people see that it's done selling, everybody's going to jump back in. Everybody jumped back in and made the candle go all the way back up to the top above this trend line and closed strong. Then we went up, landed on a strong reversal fib, so I'm going to remove that. Then we pushed back down, came down near the bottom of the trend line. Now, during the weekend, I didn't really give any updates just because I was pretty busy and the market was overall just kind of going sideways. And remember, the pattern showed it would go sideways, which I'll go over right now. Came down, we actually landed on a weak reversal fib, and now it's pushing back up nicely. We're still not on any strong reversal fib, so we can still continue to push back up, which falls into place with our pattern over here nicely. So we talked about this playing out like this, where it's the big, small, little big one. Take this magnet off. Then we drop down, then we would go sideways a little bit, then slowly start heading back up. So in the videos, in a few videos now, I posted where, after we do this, we'll go a little bit of sideways and then start pushing back up. And this is kind of where it should push back up. We already have our little scares, ups and downs and stuff. Now, I know this week we do have more Fed news and updates and stuff like that. So we'll see how that affects it. Oh man, I'm losing my voice already. But even over here, like there were some days over here where we had Fed news, these two right here, and like nothing happened. So I feel like people are kind of getting over it now, like all these crazy pumps and dumps. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be some random things. But Bitcoin's going nicely overall. It's going sideways. There was these like pump and dumps right before the Fed meetings, and it pumped right back up, and then it just went right back up to where it was. Then it pumped the next day, dropped back down right to where it was. So overall, it's going sideways, but this is the point where I do see it kind of making that like upward movement. And then once we're up here, which should be somewhere around like 23, maybe start pushing back down. And that would knock out our 21 update too. We are getting closer to this triangle, so we are looking out for a breakout soon. And this is where it gets kind of annoying, where it's like we have two different targets, and usually when we go to one, then we go after the other. Technically, I would have wanted it to go down to the 17 first, then come to the 21, but I think we actually might go to the 21 and then come back down to the 17. That would be an ugly drop. But at the same time, this is a fib, so maybe just get left behind. We forget about it. Start pushing back up and then come back down. But I definitely want to see this. We do need some, nice little bullish momentum. We've been going sideways for way too long now. And when we look at, I'll finish up on this. So overall, I see us pushing upward slowly. It's not going to be like fast moving pump. Like we'll have some ups and downs, you know, we'll go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So slowly, you know, we might even drop more still down, keep pushing back up, but the general idea is kind of like a slowly upward movement. Remember, like they don't follow it exactly perfectly, but close enough to where you're like, you know what, yeah, look, it was there. Unless, you know, the world continues to crash and we just fall down to like 17K. I'm seeing more and more people like give out like, you know, oh, we're going under 10K, 10K, 10K. That's another reason why, like, all right, we're going back up now because everybody's just over here. Everybody's so bullish now. Oh, 10K Bitcoin, 9K, you know, they still start throwing out all these crazy numbers. Now, for XRP, we did our 2 arrows down. Oops, I didn't mean to grab that. We did our 2 arrows down. We went up, but this is where even Bitcoin hit that strong reversal fib. You know, everybody, all the other alts too. This is how we knew, like, oh, we're gonna drop back down. Like, I wanted it to keep slowly pushing up, but you know what? When it hits those fibs, it's gonna come back down. Now we're on a weak fib, so as long as XRP stays above 0.4628, it should start pushing back up, and we do need to make this little movement up before it has a nice little breakout. So we have this. So as you can see. So let's say if I remove all of this stuff, I'll leave that one for now. But you know, you look back and you're like, okay, you know what? I can kind of see it now, right? You can kind of see a little bit. When we're in the middle of it, it's hard to tell. But like once this and this happens, so it's like up here and up here. I know there's a wick, but usually sometimes you have to like understand, you have to like ignore those wicks. Because on some exchanges it goes higher than the other. But we have this here, or this could be a top, and this here, and then we did that. And now we're doing this. Now we just need to slowly go back up. Breaks out. Then it drops back down. It kind of drops down pretty quick too. Then it just starts coming back down to the bottom trend line. Then maybe to our 30-cent target. But right now, pattern's still playing out pretty well. And these are not overnight. These actually take weeks to play out. But it's there. You know, these patterns are for kind of like, you know, the swing traders in this sense, where it takes weeks to play out. It's not going to happen overnight. As far as everybody else, you know, everybody has the same pattern, just like kind of downward trend, dumped, push back up. Let's see, with Shiba came down, hit a weak reversal fib. So this is where I mentioned like, oh, Bitcoin's on a strong reversal fib, so is XRP, and so is Shiba. So we knew this could be a bottom. As soon as we push back up, looked really good, but now we're just going sideways. Like we needed to push upward. You know, even this, I didn't want to stretch it out, but even with this, it's still along the line there. So we dropped down. You know, we went sideways, dropped down again. So we dropped down again, went up, a little bit up, just like sideways for a while, had to drop, went sideways, dropped again. We dropped again, and then we're just gonna go up, or however this is gonna play out. But dang, this would mean like the pump is like all the way at the end. I needed to like break this pattern because I don't really like the fact that like I had to, you know, stretch it out. But like it's there, but it's not as like how I would like it to be. I mean, actually, I'm doing this the worst way. I could just be going back. Get all these out the way. Because that would be the last little drop. Because the sections are not like too lined up properly in a sense. So it would be like a downward slope. And straight down like that. So straight down like this. But then it would be like, it doesn't really match it as well. Yeah. We'll see how that one plays out. Because like I mentioned last time, like I really don't want to stretch it out. Metabit was looking at this. He's like, dude, I think that actually fits better than before. I was like, I think before it did, but it just broke. So we'll see how this works out. Unless this guy Shiba goes up to, you know, this area, I'm just gonna like put this pattern on hold because I don't want to keep prolonging it, and then now it's like, it's kind of like, I don't want to be mean, but woo-woo how they keep saying like, oh, the drop's coming, but they keep pushing it back, and I don't want to be like that. Now for Luna, you know, I do have this pattern that I could see us playing out. You know, we had that sideways, you know, we had the big drop. Oops. So we went sideways, big drop. So sideways, big drop, went sideways, came back down, went sideways, came back down, had a big up. Kind of just going sideways. And we need to drop down. And if we look at this closely, it has to be, you know, pretty close to the bottom. So this would have to drop a lot. Back down to like this area where I mentioned. Like this is the area where I would see it drop back down to. Then it could go up a little bit. Oops. Up. Little fake out. Go sideways. Little fake out. Go sideways. Little fake out. Go sideways. Little up. Down. You know, it slowly goes up. And believe it or not, like, it's just kind of funny how this reminds me of the energy web token that we were talking about today. Which I'll go over EWT. But it's gonna be in at the very end near the near my like advertisement, and then because it falls into place of why like those some of those tiers are good. But as far as everybody else, Adam, look at not good, Adam, nicely. So we knew we were gonna drop back down to this area, right? We came down, went up. We mentioned, hey, we need to come back down to the middle of this area around 11:30. Came back down, actually went right to the bottom of this. Then I mentioned, hey, we have 2 arrows up. We did the first one, and now we're working on our second one. So then I need to see where we are at the top of this to see how farther up we're going to go. But Adam's playing perfectly how we saw it coming. As far as everybody else, just going sideways, nothing too interesting. Oh, Ethereum. Ethereum came back down right to the bottom. Remember how I mentioned if we broke below this, we're going to touch the bottom trend line. We did. But like everybody else, it went right back up. Now we're above it, so I can still see it come back up to the bottom trend line. It's due for it to touch this. We touched the bottom twice. We're due to touch the top once at least. And this is where, you know, Bitcoin, again, we see it slowly push upward, and this is where I can see this guy go up. So the market might just slowly go up the next couple of days. That's like my gist of it. Well, sideways upward, right? We'll have some red days. Look at ADA, man. Someone just completely just gave up on ADA and dumped it all down. Data, Zill, Doge. You know, got BAT, everybody else. Other than that, everybody else is the same. If we go back to BTC, again, I can see us just slowly head upward. You know, our first major resistance will be a few fib lines, but also this trend line. If we can break above the trend line, you know, go up to that 21, that would be perfect. And then that would kind of give us a clue we're heading back up. Keep in mind, after this, though, we do head all the way back down. What's this? Like, it does show like we come all the way back down, which is a good sign. So overall, like if we look at the weekly, you know, we're gonna go sideways at this point. We'll turn on the growth. You know, we're right there at the bottom. Which I figured we would come back. I remember we were up here. I'm like, I feel like we would touch this, and look, there we are. But I thought we would be like at 17K as well. So we know all these purple lines, these lines here, are the halving. So we know for the most part we're near the bottom during the halving. So I don't know why. You know what? Like, feel like because we were below the yellow orange line. On this one we were at the orange line, and we were at the orange line above it. So we should be somewhere at the orange line over here. So we should be around here, which is 60,000 Bitcoin. 60,000 Bitcoin in April. And this is where we would have to retrace to. Because, like, we're not just going to go sideways like this and go to that. Right? And then, you know, drop down a little bit and then head back up. We would have to have some sort of push up and then come back down. So, like, you know, 70,000 Bitcoin. Or somewhere around here would be like 60K. that would actually match up with what Crypto University guy is saying, because he's, there's a few people posted in my Discord like, oh, he's saying like the next top is going to be 60. I mean, that could play out because that's what I see. Like, we have to have some sort of, remember, if this is going to be sideways for the next few years, sideways has ups and downs. So we have to go up and come back down, and then go up and then well, obviously come back down here, go up, come back down, but not like bottom and then come back up. Because like we can't go from a bottom of like 18,000 to the next, somewhere around over here, the next top of a Bitcoin, where it's $1 million. Like, we have to hit, 100K, then retrace, then go to, $1 million for Bitcoin. That's if, if it continues to follow, this plan, this path. But that's the way I see it playing out. Obviously, we're not, this is going to be like, if it were to go up to like the 60K, it would be like May. And that's kind of where I mentioned before, like May looks like it's a top for next year for the coins and stuff. Now, going back to Bitcoin, remove this. Yeah, so I can slowly see it go up, then come back down, and then slowly maybe work our way back up to like the 60K until next year. But that drop that we see is, it's definitely going to be about, end of the year where everybody takes, traders take their profits and they go on a nice little vacation, which is what hopefully we can do, right? Take a nice little vacation after all this. But with that said and done, I'll keep everybody updated. We'll see what today brings. And now, again, I'll keep everybody updated on the Discord. So other than that, that's pretty much it for today. This is where I talk about advertisement to promote my Discord, and I am going to touch up on EWT. So if you want to get more updates, I do have a paid Discord. Or if you don't want to do the paid Discord, $30 a month gets you the market updates. I do daily video updates. You get Discord access, and anytime there's like something big or major, I do send out some emergency alerts on Signal. If you just want to do like the updates every day on just the YouTube videos, I do have that for $10 a month. Now, the one I've seen lately being really good is the edge. And the reason I call it edge is because you do technically get an edge on the market. As in with this peace of mind, you get to know where the market is going. So you don't have to be like worried about like, oh, this is taking off, this is coming back down. And, you FOMO, you have that peace of mind. You're not out there lost, not knowing what's going on with the market, right? You understand where the market is going. But with Edge, you do get to request charts, and then I do post trades, which I've been posting a little bit more now, and you get 2 Zoom sessions with me, which is a quick reminder for everybody who does have the Edge. Remember, you have these Zoom sessions, you should take advantage of them while you have them, while we can discuss over anything. There's some people we talk literally every 2 weeks, always, and sometimes they just vent to me, or sometimes we talk about some random stuff sometimes too. But I want to highlight the request charts, and this is where it comes in handy. I mentioned in my last video where we have this section here where you come in here and request coins. Somebody came in and requested ADA, which Crypto University was talking about, like, hey, this could be at a really good place where it can take off. And I mentioned, like, no, we still have a lower target. And even that broke lower than that. Instead of, like, getting FOMO'd into, like, oh, well, they're saying this could be the bottom. You know what? Let me jump in. Let me get super excited because this can completely take off. And as you can see, it went the complete opposite way. So it would have saved you some money. Now, EWT is a coin we were talking about today. So if I go to my Discord, if I type in EWT update, whatever coin it is, and you type space update, you'll always find me posting on here. So in August 24th, somebody asked, hey, can you do a update on Energy Web token? And I posted this, and I told them, like, hey, look, I see it could be at the top. We're gonna it'll push back down, come back up, and then kind of push back down and just kind of go sideways and then have a big breakout. Well, if you fast forward to today, and I even posted on my group, and I was like, hey, how come no one's like, how come we haven't followed up on this? Look at this. Like, even I dropped the ball, but look at how this pattern is playing out. right? We came down. We actually broke a little bit above, believe it or not, and then came back down, came back up. So we dropped down, came back up, dropped down, and it kind of went sideways. And then look at this nice little breakout today. Now, in theory, if I go to Energy Web Token, but like, you know what I mean? It's cool because now you're not surprised because of this, right? You see this big old pump. You're not like, oh, where did this come from? Like, oh my God, like, oh, did, you know, the news come out? Did this person say that? Did this and that? No. Now, we are on a white fib. It's poking a little bit, so a little bit more than I would like, to be honest. So that actually might not count. But if the white fib counts, it does a temporary down and then push back up. So keep in mind, one of these candles represents like 2 or 3. So this here does show it drops back down and then it takes off. So we could drop a little bit and then take off. And you know, we have to look at these pointers here where it's like we draw the line. So we have this, it's a little bit lower, but it's right there where it might get rejected downward and then it takes off. So it might still be early for, well, not early, obviously you want to do it down here, somewhere in this area to get the cheaper one, or even down here where it does show a random drop, and that was the random drop yesterday. This is what I mean about like each candle. You have to kind of like figure it out a little bit, because if you were here and you see this random drop down here, you know, you see like upward sideways, but then you still see this drop, or that was the drop there. Now we're pushing up, but I do see, you know, this should drop a little bit before it does take off. So some people are like, oh my God, it's been pumping the last 2 days. It's just like when we called LUNC. It's like, you ain't seen nothing yet. It's about to take off. But yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to bring that up. Just because, again, you know, there's a few people on my room who aren't on the higher tier and don't really request charts that much. Like, remember, if you have your favorite charts, request them. You know what I mean? Like, you have that ability so you can get a better view of like what's going on with your coin. And also make sure to follow up, because like that is a really good coin, even though we're still at a great point. Obviously, you know, you usually want to buy the breakout. If we want the retrace on the way back up, we want to buy that. But all right, I will see everybody on the Discord. Oh, and last thing too, if anybody wants to learn how to do scout trading, I do actually offer courses. I have like a nice little beginner course for a video that you can watch whenever you want, or we can even do one-on-one hands-on with Zoom, and I can walk you through a lot of things. And this is made for beginners, so people who like don't really trade at all, right? That don't really use TradingView or anything like that. But I don't want to make the video too long. It's already 22 minutes. Sorry about that, everybody. And I will see you guys in the Discord.